Hi, third grade friends. Welcome back. Today in ELA, we will be looking at Lesson 17. If you'll follow along, I'll read our intention and our success criteria. We are learning to tell the difference between the narrator's point of view and our own point of view. You did a good job at this yesterday. But were you successful? Let's see. We will be successful when we can explain who is telling the story, explain the narrator's point of view, describe the details that support the narrator's point of view, and explain whether we agree with the narrator's point of view or not. And do you remember what we need to use to help support our ideas? That's right, text evidence. I bet you did a good job with that with your discussion with your class yesterday. So just like yesterday, I have an anchor chart here. Kind of want to talk to you about when a character has point of views, there's usually a motivation within a character, why things are happening or why the character is doing what they're doing. And motivations are just the reasons characters do something. You each have motivations too in things that you do or things you want, such as love, money, greed, ambition, anger, acceptance, survival, even revenge. Have you ever been so upset that you just wanted to get back at a friend for something? That's motivation. Okay? So I want you to think about those things as we're looking at the characters and what they did and the motivation, the reason why, the reason they did what they did. And to do this today, we're also going to look back at two texts, the Lemonade War, Location, 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 and Thundercake. We're going to look at an excerpt from Location, 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 and then an excerpt from Thundercake and see what their motivation is, what Evan's motivation and the girl. So over here, what motivated Evan? While I read, be thinking, okay? Here we go. But there had to be some way to convince Officer Ken. How could Evan make him understand? You see, I got this little sister, and we got a competition going to see who can sell the most lemonade. And I've got to win because he couldn't explain the rest about fourth grade and how embarrassed he was to be in the same class as his kid sister and how it made him feel like a great big loser. So what do you think Evan's motivation is? That's right, he doesn't want to lose. So it's a competition that motivates Evan. Let's check on Thundercake and the girl. On sultry summer days at my grandma's farm in Michigan, the air gets damp and heavy. Storm clouds drift low over the fields. Birds fly close to the ground. The clouds glow for an instant with a sharp, crackling light, and then a roaring, low, tumbling sound of thunder makes the windows shudder in their panes. The sound used to scare me when I was little. I'd love to go to my grandma's house. Babushka, as I used to call my grandma, had come from Russia years before, but I feared Michigan's summer storms. I feared the sound of thunder more than anything. I always hid under the bed when the storm moved near the farmhouse. This one might be a little tricky, but what do you think? What motivates the girl to find her bravery or not to be so scared? That's right. We can go right to the text. Right down here. I feared the sound of thunder more than anything. So right there, our text evidence lets us know that the thunderstorms motivates her to find her security, to find her bravery. Nice job. Now, let's look at a couple other characters in our stories. We're going to look at Grandma, what motivates Grandma to help her granddaughter, and then what motivated Officer Ken to buy a glass of lemonade from Evan. Let's start with Grandma. Child, you come out from under that bed. It's only thunder you're hearing, my grandma said. The air was hot, heavy, and damp. A loud clap of thunder shook the house, rattled the windows, and made me grab her close. Steady, child, she cooed. Unless you let go of me, we won't be able to make a thunder cake today. do you think, friends? What motivated Grandma to help? That's right, to help her granddaughter to find her comfort, her bravery with storms. Let's check out the excerpt from Location. You're doing a great job. So remember your question right here. What motivates Officer Ken to buy a glass of lemonade? Let's see if you can figure it out. Tell you what, said Officer Ken, I do have to shut you down. The law's the law. But before I do, I'll buy one last glass of lemonade. How's that sound? Evan's face fell. Sure, he said without enthusiasm. He poured an extra tall cup and gave it to the policeman. Officer Ken reached into his pocket and handed Evan a $5 bill. Keep the change, he said. A contribution to the Big Brother Fund. Now clean up your things and don't leave any litter behind. He lifted his cup in a toast as he walked away. So what do you think? What motivated Officer Ken to buy a last glass of lemonade? That is correct. Did you see down here a contribution to the Big Brother Fund? That makes me believe that Officer Ken's been in a similar situation when he was younger. So he wanted to support Evan and in his journey of winning against his sister. Nice job, third grade. Now, even though those were just some examples, you can think about these stories or any story you read and think about the motivation within the character and discuss that sometimes today with your teacher and your classmates. Here are our discussion questions again that we talked about. But the third one here, what motivates you? What motivates you to be a good student, a good reader, a good basketball player, the best home run slugger in baseball or softball? What motivates you? What gives you that drive to do it? If you feel like sharing, maybe jot down what you're thinking and share with your class or your teacher today. Your assignment today is going to look a little different. You're going to be assigned a Google document and want you to answer the following questions in 4 to 5 sentences. You can do it. That's a healthy paragraph for a third grader. Be sure to use complete sentences and details from the story location, or Thundercake to support your answer. Then be sure to share your Google Doc with your teacher so they can see what you're thinking and your responses and give you some feedback. But remember to use your text evidence. That's why you need to go back and look at the story. So here's the question you're going to respond to right here. People are motivated to do things for many reasons. What kinds of things motivate you? Do you think you should be motivated by fear? What about by competition or the desire to win? Sounds like an Evan question there. What is an example of a time you were motivated by a desire to help somebody else? You can use some of the evidence, or if you've experienced things like Evan and Jesse or the girl in Thundercake or even Grandma or Officer Ken, you can use those examples to help support your response. Third graders, I hope that you're really understanding that when we're telling the difference of point of view, the narrator's point of view versus our point of view, there is a lot of motivation that goes into it. It also relates to our character traits too and the kind of person we are. And I hope you're finding some success with this week. You're able now to explain who is telling the story. You're able to explain the narrator's point of view and how they feel about different situations or events that are happening in the story. And you're should be able to describe the details that support the narrator's point of view. And you should be able to explain whether you agree or disagree with the narrator's point of view and support your responses by using text evidence from the story or making a connection with that text evidence. All right, third graders, I'm going to let you go so you can get your response going. Remember, only 4 to 5 sentences today. You can do it. And don't forget to read at least 20 minutes today for fun. Maybe share the book that you're reading or a magazine that you're reading with your teacher or your class today. See you tomorrow. Bye.